Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as you know, the 18 chapters of the Gita are divided into 3 shatkams. The first 6 chapters are the Tvampada shatkam, the middle 6 are the Tatpada shatkam, and the Antima Charama shatkam is the Asipadam or Aikyapadam shatkam. Now, we have seen in chapters 13, 14 and 15 great detail about Moksha Vidya or Brahma Vidya. Very technical chapters they were. But that jnanam can only penetrate a mind which is sattvic, which is samskrita manas, which has the adhikaritvam called sadhana chatushtayam. And so these 2 chapters, 16 and 17, are very important chapters which talk about fine-tuning the mind, which is about lifestyle and how to be able to receive the knowledge. That's why there are various degrees of adhikaritvam, like the kinds of wood. A wood that is very dry, it will catch fire instantly. Whereas wet wood will take time. First it has to dry and then catch fire. But charcoal will take a very long time to light up. So that is the adhikaritvam state of the mind. And these 2 chapters, Daivi Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, Daivasura, and Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga chapters are very important also for young children and for youth, so that it paves the way. Because these 2 are about Dharma Shastras. There is nothing Vedanta here in these chapters. Only how to prepare the mind. So we saw chapter 16 ended with Sri Krishna telling Arjuna, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karyau Vyavastitau, emphasizing that Shastra Pramana or the Vedas are the only authority or guide to tell us what is to be done, what is not to be done. They have the Vidhi and Nisheda, the do's and the don'ts. So one must go by them. And so this triggers Arjuna's curiosity, and chapter 17 begins with his question. Ye shastra vidhi mutsrajya yajante shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishtha ka. So what he's asking is, millions of people, even right now in Bharat Desha, they don't know what the Shastras are talking about. They don't have a teacher or priest to guide them. They don't have adequate knowledge of Sanskritam, but they are endowed with Shraddha. So how would you, Krishna, classify them if they do pujas and perform religious activities? And then Krishna's answer is, depends on their Shraddha. And what is the meaning of Shraddha here? Temperament, or one's dedication, commitment, or attitude. And that is Swabhavaja. That Ja means born of. So the Shraddha will be born of the mind. And the mind is nothing but the guna composition. If there is a Daivi Sampat, then there will be a Satviki Shraddha. If there is a Asuri Sampat, then the Shraddha will also be Tamasic or Rajasik. And so Krishna then begins to talk about the threefold Shraddha, how it is dependent on the mind. And it's based on the Guna model that we saw in detail in chapter 40. And so the mind, that Shraddha is, some we have brought with it in this Janma. All the accumulated samskaras of the past, it is carried forward in the present Janma, and that is our capital. And then the current life also determines the Shraddha I will have in this life. So it is a combination of the previous Purvajanma Sukritam and the current Purushartha that one does. So then Krishna first, answers Arjuna's question and says that if the mind or the Shraddha is Satviki Shraddha, then there will be a certain mode of worship, what deity they worship, and what are they seeking, and the mode of worship, the motive will be different. So Satviki Shraddha will worship the deities, as a Arpanam, Ishvara Arpanam, and then the Sankalpa will be Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, and the mode of worship will be very divine and sattvic. Then the Rajasic mode of worship will be, phalam oriented. Yeah, it will be seeking name, fame, status to enhance dambhena, dambhartham will be there. And so the mode of worship also will be Rajasic, result oriented, for external growth. And then Tamasic, of course, they worship, we saw Bhuta, Preta, and they do Ghora Tapas, that is extreme, either self-torture, or using these Tamasic modes of worship like black magic and witchcraft, and they are also very religious and highly disciplined, but the motive is Tamasic. Indoctrination, jihadi, and causing conversion, causing harm to other people's beliefs. It is a tamasic form of worship. So we see that with this 6 verses, the first 6 verses, Krishna has actually completed answering Arjuna's question. Yeah? But then Krishna continues with 4 bonus topics. And he continues with the topics of Ahara, Yajna, Dhanam and Tapas, and also explains it in a threefold way. Yeah? And that starts from 7. Shloka number 7 up to 22, we have this threefold classification of the 4 additional topics. Now, Ahara, we know it is a huge topic, and here it is just mentioned that the sattvic ahara is that which is pleasing to the heart and mind, which is fortifying, which is balanced in all the tastes, which is freshly cooked, and it is with that which is fit to be offered to the Agni Devata with it. So eating is also a yajna, and so how much we eat, when we eat, what is the frequency of eating, what we eat, all that is included in sattvika ahara. Also eating with the hands, it is said that the 5 fingers, they balance the Pancha Mahabhutas in the body and the mind. So, when we have sattvika ahara, let us do it as a puja. Let's not be distracted by gadgets or by too much talking. Cheerfully, let us have the food, and of course, vegetarian, and also the rules, we saw that earlier, Purayet ashanena artham tridiyam udakena sanvayo sanchanartham chaturtham avasheshayet. Elsewhere we have seen one shloka. What is the proportion? Half the stomach with solids, 1/4 with liquids, and the remaining quarter, let us leave it empty for the samana vayu to do its job. So this is the secret of health. Even science is telling us, always be a little hungry all the time. So to avoid the second helpings, which the mind desires, but Agni Devata does not want anymore. So the sattvic ahara, definitely it is one without, meat, intoxicants, stimulants, excessive spices, vegetarian of course, all these rules, and we have to sit and eat also, no buffet eating. So many rules are there for sattvika ahara. Then Rajasika, that is ati tikshna, ati katu, ati lavana. So excessive, imbalanced spices in a food, which is just meant for the taste buds, that will be Rajasik. And that will directly contribute to the Rajasic guna in the mind. Yeah, so they are interdependent. When the mind is Rajasic, it will demand Rajasic food. And when the food is Rajasic, it will, promote the Rajoguna in the mind. Then Tamasic, of course, is stale food, undercooked or overcooked food. Yeah, food that is reheated repeatedly just because it's convenient. Yeah, and that is the tamasic food. And why ahara is so important is because, you see, in this pancha bhautikam shariram, annamaya kosha is the outermost gateway. So only when that is pure can we gain access to the inner sharirams, the mind, and then vijnanamaya kosha, manomaya kosha. All that, if we want to stabilize and purify, we have to start with annam. And that is mentioned in a threefold way. And after that, Bhagavan takes up yajna. Yajna is any religious activity. Again, threefold. The Sattvika yajna is the yajna that is done for loka sangraha and yashtavyam eva iti. That which is to be done as a Ishvara Arpanam, our Nitya Karmas, Naimittika Karmas, role playing, Panchamaha Yajnas, all these activities, if it is done based on the Yajna principle, then that would be a Sattvika activity. Then Rajasika is Phalam Abhisandhaya. Now, Sattvika Yajnas are, one is not eyeing the phalam. One is not doing it for the sake of phalam. Yeah? But Rajasika is phalam oriented, result oriented, for again name, fame, status, qualification. And also we find many religious people, they will perform lot of yajnas. This homa, that homa, this abhishekam, constantly for their family, for their relatives, and this parihara, that parihara, to remove this dosha, that dosha. Up to a certain limit it is fine. But when we keep on seeking removal of doshas, running to this devata, that also Acharya says is Rajasik. Yeah? And makes the mind, very seeking phalam all the time. I should get a favorable result in life. Things should be better for me. Things should work out perfectly for me and my family. That is also, if it is done beyond a certain limit, it is Rajasika. Then Tamasika yajna is that which is done without any shraddha, without an inadequate dakshina, without following the rules of the shastras. And that is the Tamasika, adakshina, avidihi. And also, wrong time, wrong place, it is done in the wrong way. And that is the Tamasika yajna. Then after that we saw how this tapas was, covered by Bhagavan in 6 shlokas. Tapas is something that you voluntarily do, you deny oneself. It is a self-denial or an austerity. Again, that can be threefold. And first of all, Bhagavan says, what is tapas? What is Sharirika tapas? And Vachika tapas and Manasika tapas. So Sharirika tapas is if you engage the body in a very healthy way. Pradakshinas, Surya Namaskaras itself, Sashtanga Namaskaras, to Deva, Dvija, Guru, Prajnas. These people, then we get the blessings. And then observing Brahmacharya, then Ahimsa, cleanliness, keeping the body and surroundings clean. This is Sharirika tapas. Then we saw Vachika tapas, very important, Vak tapas. And, like right now when you all chanted, that is also Vak tapas, chanting one chapter Gita every day, Kathopanishad mantras, Pratasmrana in the morning, Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. All this is Vak tapas because it contributes to the purity of speech. That's why Swadhyaya was there. Swadhyaya Abhyasanam. And then we saw the triple filter test. Before one speaks, let us make sure it is Satyam, Priyam and Hitam. Beneficial, it is the truth and it is pleasing. Yeah? Otherwise, Maunam, Paramasadhanam. Then, the tapas at the level of the mind is very, very subtle. That is Shamaha. So, in the mind, how can I ensure a tranquility, a peace of mind? Only when I have sattviki shraddha, when my motives are pure, when I have prasada buddhi, when I'm doing japam and leading a lifestyle which is sattvic. So, to gain that samatvam and prasada buddhi amidst the turbulence of life is to enjoy the manasika prasada with prasada buddhi. And then, of course, when the tapas is done, in a sattvic way, it is sattvika tapas. Again, a tapas done for chitta shuddhi, not desiring the phalam, with shraddha, that is sattvic. And then Rajasika tapas is the one that is done for gaining some result. Phalam, either here or hereafter, dambhena. And tamasika is for harming others and oneself. There are these various kinds of tapas like meditating on cremation grounds and then piercing the skin with nails. Yeah, and they think that some devata, Kali or somebody will be pleased. Yeah, so that is their mode of worship or mode of tapas, which is extremely tamasic. Then the last of the 4 bonus topics Krishna covers is Dhanam. Yeah? And Dhanam again is threefold. Sattvika Dhanam is that Dhanam which is done because Datavyam. Yeah? There is a need at that moment by me to the right person, right place, right time, and I am blessed to be able to give. So that attitude of giving when it is most needed and it is the right needy a dhanam to somebody, that is called sattvika dhanam. In fact, Puja Swamiji has written a book, not written, it has been compiled, called Dhanam. In that I was reading how Swamiji says one must give till it hurts. Because when we part with something, it is naturally going to cause a little bit of regret. Will it be properly used, or will I get a receipt for it? Such thoughts are natural, will come. But giving is like weightlifting. How do the people practice weightlifting? They will add 100 grams, 1 kg. So it should hurt and challenge their muscle. And then they go to the next bracket, of weightlifting. So Dhanam is like that. We give a little bit first, and then little more, and then more, and then the whole life is kind of a arpanam. So that would be really a sattvika dhanam. And then, and without expecting anything in return. There are some sadhus who will not even accept dhanam from us. When we offer them anything, they will either refuse and or they will immediately distribute it. Why? Because once you receive a gift, then our mind will think, oh, I am obliged to return. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want my mind to be free. So if the donors will give with a free attitude, I don't expect anything from you, I am blessed to give, then both are blessed. The giver is blessed and the receiver is also blessed. That is sattvika dhanam. And then we have Rajasika Dhanam, which of course is the Dhanam is expecting something in return. Again, name, fame, status, publicity, all this will be there. Like our Birla Mandir in Hyderabad, in most cities, So when you assign your own name, it should be Bhagavan's name, then that is a little element of Rajas which is coming. Yeah. Still, it is a good place of worship for the public, but there is the desire to be noticed and to be praised, and that is Rajas. That's why some donors, they will prefer to be anonymous, and they don't even want their names to be published or known. Yeah, for this reason only. Yeah, they want it to be totally Ishvara Arpanam. And then we come to the Tamasika Dhanam, which is the lowest category. That is, we give something which is not needed at the wrong time and wrong place. One example of a tamasic gift is when parents gift these costly gadgets to children. at a very young age. Yeah. Nowadays it's happening, iPads, everything is being given, and so that just opens the door to social media and all kinds of corrupt inputs. So that would be a really tamasic gift. And so with that, 22, these 4 bonus topics are covered by Bhagavan. And concluding 23 to 28, we saw those verses are devoted to the powerful mantra Om Tat Sat. So Om Tat Sat is the Trividha Nirdeshaha, triple designation or 3 namas for the supreme reality, Param Brahma. Om Avati Rakshati iti Om is a universal protector, and Om iti etat sarvam. All that is here is Om. It covers Saguna, Nirguna, everything. So if you want to call Bhagavan in the shortest possible time, we just have to utter Om. It's been heard by Bhagavan. And Om is so auspicious. It everything begins with Om. And then Tat. Tat means that. And that is referring to something remote. Tat Brahma Aham Asmi. So the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, which comes in the Chandogya Upanishad, means that supreme reality is Etad Atma shining in the Sukshma Shariram. So, with Shravana Manana Nididhasanam, I am able to discover the reflecting sentience or Ishvara's presence in my own heart. And then I have bridged the gap between Tat, remote reality, and Etad, the immediate Aparoksha presence in me. So that is the significance of Tat. And then Sat. Sat, we all know, is without Sat, there can be no Srishti. Sat is Satyam, Paramarthika Satyam, which is the Adhara, without which nothing, no Nama Rupa can exist. So that is the glory of Sat, which is pure existence. And then Krishna gives in a couple of verses a few more meanings for Sat. Sadhu Bhava, then Prashasta Karmas, and Sthitihi, and then associated karmas. So when, the sadhu purushas, their satsanga, anything that's pure and untarnished, that is also sat. Then any punya karmas done, yajna, dana, tapas, that is also sat. And any activity done for the sake of yajna, dana, tapas is also sat. Any praiseworthy karmas, and also this perseverance and determination. And if we start anything, like let us say we start some Annadanam somewhere, sometime, in some temple or some Abhishekam. But, to go on having that steadfast pursuit, that is called Sthitihi. And that is also a meaning for Sat. So, whatever commitment we take up in life, Gita study, or, I will do meditation every day, 10 minutes, or memorizing Gita chapters. So we have to have the steadiness in that, steady commitment. And that was pointed out in Yajne Tapasi Dane Cha Sthitihi, the perseverance. That is also called Sat. And then finally, Krishna summarizes the whole chapter by saying, whatever Hutam, Tattam, Taptam, whatever Yajna, Dan and Tapas we do, if it is done in a half-hearted manner, Ashraddhaya, then it amounts to asat. That is, there is no merit in it. Yeah? But now to come back to Arjuna's question, even if I don't know what is the muhurta, good muhurta, what is the tithi, and what kind of dakshina or naivedyam should I prepare, but my shraddha is satviki shraddha, and then I utter Om Tat Sat, then it makes up for all the defects and fallacies that could have crept in, and then sanctifies the activity and makes it complete. But there has to be the Shraddha for that. Yeah? So that is the power of Om, Tat and Sat. And that is what we see in the concluding line of every Gita chapter, Om Tat Sat Iti. And that is how the Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga chapter ends. So you see how these two chapters are meant for fine-tuning the mind and to develop a Samskrita Manas with a Daivika Sampat. Why? In order that I can receive the Brahma Vidya or Moksha Vidya, for it to penetrate my mind and to settle down in the mind. That is the reason why this is so important. And that is why it takes a long time to prepare the mind. But instantly knowledge can be placed. To a Adhikari student, the Guru says, Tattvamasi, done. He has received it completely. But because the mind has impurities, Bhagavan is suggesting all these, giving all the tips on lifestyle in chapters 16 and 17 and showing the way. Now, we come to the final chapter of the second round of Gita, which is called the Yoga of Renunciation. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga is the title. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. And again, it opens with Arjuna's question. And he is going to ask, Hey Mahabaho, Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tattvamichhami Veditam Tyagasya cha Rishikesha Pritakeshini Shudana. Oh Krishna, what is the difference between Tyaga and Sannyasa? So Krishna is always praising Sannyasa. Samkhya Yoga, Sannyasa. You must give up this, give up that. So Arjuna is getting confused. Tyaga also means giving up. Sannyasa also means giving up. So what is the difference? They are almost the same. But Krishna is going to point out a subtle difference. Like Tyaga is, when we give up something. Like when we, there is a practice when you go to Kashi. There will be some Tyaga, no? He'll say, Rana vittitu varno. So you're not supposed to leave something that you don't like. You're supposed to leave something that you're fond of because you want to reduce attachments, right? Swamiji would say one person went and said, okay, no more mangoes for me. But then whenever mango prasada was given, he would have a very sad face because we can't get the mangoes now. So, Tyaga means giving up, giving up something accompanied by a sense of loss or regret. But sannyasa is the lifestyle of renunciation. And that Krishna is going to explain, summarizing the entire teaching of the Gita now in chapter 18, that it is a whole lifestyle based on the understanding that I don't own anything. So there is not only karma phala tyagam, but there is kartritva bhoktritva tyaga. Yeah? And here in Manjugudi, everywhere you see what all that is here is Ishvara. So nothing belongs to me. It is all gifted. Body is gifted, mind is gifted, Shaktis are gifted, Ichha, Priya, Jnana Shakti, family, star, sun, moon, life, resources, everything is given. And then, what is it that I can call my own? So when that understanding dawns or is well assimilated, then one is a sannyasa. Need not be a formal sannyasa, external, but it is all in the mind. So Gita is going to show all that. And it's a long chapter, 78 shlokas. And we will see few more topics, like buddhi, like karma and ahankara. Also, Krishna will classify in a threefold way: sattva, rajas and tamas. And then finally, we will come back to the original scene in Hastinapura palace. Power has gone here. Hastinapura palace, where Sanjaya is narrating to the blind king Dhritarashtra. And that's how it's going to end. So it will take a few months, I will say, to finish this, at least 5 months. And let's hope we can finish the chapter 18 Gita by Gita Jayanti 2023. That's the target. And sooner or later, we'll do it. Okay. So we'll stop here. Om स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ